Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we're going through my round 8 team review, in which I did score a 2001. I think a lot of content creators around that 2000 mark. Feels weird. I think it is mostly just because this forward line is absolute dog water. Like last year, we were getting 100s, 110s. I had 100 score, 190 score, and a couple of 70s. I actually had 200 scores in the forward line because I had Darcy Wilson. But yes. It's not looking good. So yeah, 2001 score, around 8 ranking of almost 23,000 and an overall rank of 7,900, which actually blew out about another 600 places. But I'm glad that I sort of held roughly where I wanted to. I'm hoping AFL Fantasy, with all the mistakes I made, that I can be roughly around that 8 to 7K this year. I think that's roughly where I can sort of hopefully hold, and then hopefully as time progresses, bring that back up towards that sort of 3K range, I reckon. As yes, it would be good to be able to finish in the top like 1,500 that I think I finished last year. Was that roughly where I finished? I think it was at 4K, somewhere around there. But I just don't think it's possible with the mistakes that I made. And there's a lot of learnings already for next year, which once I get through all my uni courses in about 5 weeks' time or so, that I'll go back through and look through it and make a lot of learnings and takings away from that, as there's a lot to learn from the mistakes we made and sort of why and the logic I need to take into next season. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to, if it will let me, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on. We're trying to hit 500 subs before the buys hit in a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, just remember to like and subscribe and turn the notification bell on. But anyway, it's my hotkeys are not going to work, so hopefully I click on the right one. That is the right one. As you can see here, Sheasel 89. He new role for him, which probably not the best fantasy wise. The new role takes away probably 3 or 4. Probably 5 or 6 touches, I would say, and then also takes away probably the potential for 3 or 4 marks. And that, yes, did have a couple of free kicks against, which doesn't help, but he scored an 89. It's not even that bad. I don't think Sheasel is going. I think Sheasel can still be a top 8 mid, even with this mid forward role. He had 45% CBAs. I still think he's going to be all right. And he plays in the wet against Gold Coast, so it'll be interesting this round. I wouldn't captain him just because I don't think there will be the uncontested marks. I think the guys like Wardlaw and probably Sherry are going to do really well this week against like Rowell and stuff like that. Rowell and Miller are probably going to do really well for Gold Coast. So I'm not too worried about Sheasel this week, to be honest with you. Whitfield just had a Jordan tag, and yeah. So for any Clark owners, I'd almost be jumping out of him if you can, because he has the Sydney Swans, and I don't think Ryan is going to be tagged by the likes of Sydney. I think it's going to be Jordan Clark, just because Ryan is a key, and it's a lot harder for Jordan Clark to get on the key defenders more so than the smaller sort of running backs. So I think Jordan Clark is the one that they're going to tag out of the game. And we've seen Whitfield, he went minus 60 odd, minus 53 on his average at the moment, but he was averaging like 110 before that. So yeah, he went minus 60 odd. So yeah, I'm looking at that and thinking that Jordan Clark could easily get tagged for a 40 or a 50. And that'll pretty much make him a must trade out in the next little bit. So if you can get rid of Clark, I would be worried and get rid of him, just because of the impact that Jordan Clark has had. Hayden Young, absolutely huge, 125, huge game for him, 30 touches, 7 and 5, and then the 2 goals as well, basically just capped it out. You can see here when he does get those huge disposal numbers that he gets huge scores, just because his non-disposal work is absolutely huge. His worst non-disposal output is an 8. And yeah, once he gets plus the 20-odd tackles, the 20-odd touches, that's when he goes huge. And yeah, he limited the free kicks as well, which was one of the downfalls in the opening couple of rounds. So yeah, really, really happy about that. Elliot Yeo, 1 to 2 weeks with a quad injury, and he made a 62. He's going, and you'll see in my trades that I actually have the perfect trade. 0 in the bank, for it. And yeah, Elliot Yo 62 kind of sucks that he did that. But that's life, I guess. And yeah, he went pretty big beforehand, and 88 average for him. Plus, I believe it was roughly what was he priced at? 136, so 630 odd K. 630 odd K is going to be roughly around that 70 marker. So he went plus 18 and plus 136K, so it's not a failed pick. We just, I think a lot of us were thinking, oh yeah, he's going to be keeper for the whole year. He's going to be sort of just on the edge of a top 6 defender. And he's just not. His work is so much contested that he's a good Supercoach scorer, but not so good fantasy scorer. So yeah, Elliot Yo for me is a trade out on both platforms. Riley Bonner 87, I thought he did pretty well as well. I thought he was a lot cleaner this week. 24 touches, 7 and 1. Has Hawks this week and Freo next, so it will be interesting to see how he goes. Where are the fixtures? Tassie and Marvel, MCG, Optus. I think he's holdable until the bye, honestly, until his bye, and then trade him out in an upgrade there, as that'll work, as you can use a rookie alongside him, like a 500k rookie to get up somewhere. So yeah, looking at him and thinking that he is tracking well, not top 6 defender, but sort of that top 12 or so range. So he's not killing you if you have him still, and not a most likely not a massive trade out risk, like not a massive risk if you trade him out now, but I think you can still just hold him at the moment, and he's doing just fine. Closey, I want to get him off field next week, but I don't know if I can actually get him off field. But yeah, a 65 from him did his job. Has North Melbourne in the wet, so I don't know necessarily if he'll be able to do well. But then again, he scored a 65 on limited marks, so I don't think it's as bad. I think his scoring up here when he was scoring really well was just based on a huge amount of marks. So I still think he can score that 60 to 70 score. But I'd rather loop him on the bench, as I believe they play early. When do they play? They play late, so maybe just maybe loop him late or something. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I would rather Graham play in this slot and then have him linked as the non-playing player on the bench, and then potentially put him on if I am not happy with the score from my bench. But yeah, 65 from him, did all right. Blake Howes, a 50 from him. Yeah, did his job, 50. Still making some cash, not necessarily making the most, but still going to be upwards of 500k when I trade him out eventually. 37 break even. If you look at his fixture stats, a projected 58 and then a projected 53, 58 gets him up another 16, 35k, which would get him to 487, which is a huge 260 or so K when you trade him out to a 220k player or so during the buys, or maybe even after the buys. Probably during the buys, to be honest with you. Round 14 buy, you can trade him and Bonner in that and get to a round 12 defender, or potentially even a round 12 midfielder when that happens, and that'll be that. Yeah, that might be what I do, because I do have both Nick Dacos and Martin that can go back there, and that'll be the 5-prong. But yeah, it's I have plenty of defenders that I can chuck back there, so it probably will be a midfielder that I do go and put in there, with Blake Howes and Bonner going up in the buys. Steele 100, I thought, even though with the knee strapping, I thought he did all right. 5 and 7, I really do think that knee strapping is just sort of getting him through, and I think it will sort of come off soon. You can see that he wasn't back to his extreme best with 10 and 13, but he was back to some semblance of it with 5 marks, and that sort of is the telling factor for me, is the marking. If he really is back to his best, his marking is around that 5 range. His tackles is always going to be 6 or 7 plus. So that's what I was really looking at, his non-disposal work. And you can see with this 72, he had 0 marks and 9 tackles. So yes, his tackling was there, but his marking wasn't there. So his maneuverability wasn't, I don't think, there in that game against Port. And that's why he had the 0 marks. He wasn't wanting to pop out for those sort of cheap marks. Whereas I think he was doing that in the North game. So I'm not too worried about Steele as much. Bontempelli 103, he's been a failed pick this year. Wish I had gone Merritt. Merritt would have saved me 60k and gone and been one of the best players in the comp. And that's sort of what's Bont at. 8 games, 101. Merritt is at 8 games, 116. So that's 8 times 15. What's that? Around 120 points or so. 120 points would put me, I'm guessing, around that probably 5,000, 4,000 rank, and I wouldn't be so bad. And I would have, I'd have Merritt as well, so over Bont, and I'd probably be looking at bringing in Bont. And my team value wouldn't be as bad, and everything wouldn't, it just would be a lot better. I'd have a 20 million so there were so many mistakes like that, and not going top of the line, getting rid of Harley Reid and other players that have really good job security. I keep on forgetting about job security over cash gen, and that is one of the biggest flaws in a lot of my analysis here has been cash gen over job security, because I'm more so looking at Supercoach where you can sort of flip these guys with good job security just to get these cash generators very, very quickly. So that was one of the flaws in my analysis that I need to get better at, as I should have seen that from last year, and that's one of the main takeaways I've taken from this year. Zach Butters, 104. He did well, did his job. He's been really good. A 105 average for the year, a plus 6 or so on what he was averaging last year. I think that's a real good pick in the end for those that have him as his best 18 in the comp. And you picked him plus 6, whereas a lot of the guys ahead of him haven't actually been value. Nick Martin, another one of those stellar picks, top 9 in the comp, and we picked him from, an 80-something average. He's gone up 165k, 165k is 780. 780 is roughly, 780 is roughly 85 average. Divide that by 9,030, 86 or so average, so 85, 86, somewhere in that range. So, he looks plus 24. Plus 24 is what you want out of mid prices. So guys like 70 range. He's done that from 86. That's how good he's been. He's been probably pick of the season. Nick Dacos, brought him in on the 90 odd last week, I believe. And then he's gone one. So he's averaged 110 on my side. That's perfect. Probably could have brought him in a week later, but now we've got him and he's going to hold for the rest of the year. So pretty happy about that. Matty Roberts, probably time to go now, even though he does have really good job security. I just think that Luke Parker is going to take some piece of the pie there. And also, Matty Roberts he's gone 78, but if you look at his scoring here, and I make this just a little bit bigger for you guys, he's gone 90, 91, 94, 85, and 89. He hasn't really popped off completely. And I think that's because you have Ollie Florent and Nick Blakey back there, as well as Jake Lloyd. And McInerney's actually playing a little bit back there now as well. You sort of have these sort of 3 or 4 other guys in there that are all distributing, so they sort of almost limit each other. It's almost like trying to each of them trying to climb the ladder to be the number one, and they're all sort of pulling each other back, and they're all sort of negating each other from being that number one. So in terms of, yes, Mick Blakey's probably the number one guy, but in terms of the hierarchy, but he actually isn't really the number one scorer. There is sort of 4 or 5 guys around that sort of 80 to 78 for Roberts. But if you look at this and you'll see positions, defenders, Sydney Swans, and then you look at average here, not total points, average, you got Blakey 85, Ollie Florent 79, Roberts, and then McInerney, I believe, is actually playing, he's classified, I believe, as a winger and a forward, but he's at 80 as well, and he's playing sometimes off the back line as well. So you have all these guys, and Jake Lloyd there, who have 5 guys there also. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see I traded out Roberts in my side, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys between 74 and 86. All playing the same distributive role, and I think it's just limiting the potential for the likes of Roberts. So that's why I would be strongly consider trading him out, because I don't see him hitting the highs that a potential guy like a Wilson can do, or a Graham can do. We've seen Graham go 64, 104, 50, 83, 56. I think in a more contested game against North and Darwin, he's going to go huge. So I'd rather that and rather save the 140k from Roberts and go up. So there's that. I could actually dunk Closey as well, potentially as well, given that they have the 2. I don't think I cannot, because Roberts is 630. So that would spoil the plans. I wish I could do that actually now thinking about it, but I just cannot. Graham 56 going to play him at D6 this week most likely. He was all right in the uncontested game, but that's just not the way he plays, so want him back to that contested style hopefully in Darwin. Then you've got Sharp here 86, huge from him. Got onto it really well early with the pill. And yeah, just took a lot of uncontested marks out in the winning 10 marks. Huge. One of his best games, to be honest with you. Didn't get a lot of disposals, but a lot of +6s from him and +5s. Garcia, 47, making cash, but making it really slowly. Another one that I really shouldn't have gone for in the end. But anyway, so be it, we move. As he's just sort of slowly gaining cash. Dempsey, 60, he's sort of stalling, but he's not really going up in cash or going down. You see here, -8k. He's sort of stalling around that 530 to 570 range. Sort of, he's stuck there for a while. Don't think he'll really lose much cash. He's just sort of there and thereabouts as I make other moves. So I want to get him out next week, hopefully, him and also Sharp potentially, and get them to, well, Sharp's actually had the 68 break even here, so his break even's fine. And get them sort of up now that they're sort of stalling and they're not really going to make cash. I mean, what's Sharp's projected? He's projected 46. I don't think he's going to score 46, but yeah, you can see that. Then you have Gorn. I stuffed up my captaincy loophole, which doesn't help as a content creator. That was really poor. But Gorn went 92. He basically did nothing until the last quarter when he went 42 points last quarter, I want to say. I believe he was on maybe even a 46 last quarter or something like that. Yeah, he did his job, and yeah, really, really happy about that he did his job. I just want to check his last quarter. I think it was a 46. I want to say it was a 46. But I remember, yeah, he basically did nothing until the last quarter. Let me just check the fourth. A 42 from him in the fourth, yeah, 42 and up to a 92. So it was on 50 at three-quarter time and then got up to a 92. So saved the captaincy score a little bit. Barnett, I just went for it with Gorn early as I had to do it because of the 730 to 810 one, and I just backed in Gorn over Bontempelli, which in the end only cost me 11 points, so not the end of the world. Sweet, 88, sort of happy. Hardest ruck matchup and went 88, so I think he can do better. Isaac Heaney, 99, probably got another couple of votes in that game against GWS. There was about 7 Swans players that were best on out of all the players, so they probably had the top 7 or so guys. So yeah, really happy about him. He's been one of the also picks of the year, to be honest, priced at roughly 730k. So yeah, him and Nick Martin probably the picks of the year. They've been absolutely huge. It's just the other ones. And also you could also say Sherry as well, pick of the year. So yeah, those 3. If you had those 3, you're probably in contention. I only had 2, so not in contention, I would say. Flanders as well, he's been really, really good, but we sort of saw this coming. He's only plus 9 or whatever, is he? 950, so 810, so that was a 9. Oh, so sorry, only average 90, so he's plus 18 as well, so he's up there as well. So people that started, all 4 of them have really profited. I only started 2, so therefore that's the reason why I failed. Basically, Tom Powell, he's got his role basically back, so yeah, expect him to do better than this, especially up in Darwin where he's going to probably tackle his way to a good score. Luke Jackson, Sean Darcy is supposedly fit for their next game, but also looks sort of in doubt a little bit. So against Sydney, he plays up against McLean. He should be able to run McLean around, I reckon, when they're in the ruck. So yeah, I expect Luke Jackson to score all right, to be honest with you. Then you got Jack McRae. He was apparently tagging on Newcomb, who Newcomb had 21, 3 and 7, and Newcomb's team won, the Hawks won. So why were you tagging with a ball magnet in McRae, who only had, in the end, 21 touches himself? So yeah, I didn't understand that necessarily. Bevo, please just let McRae do his work on the inside. You don't have Libba. Let McRae do his work on the inside for just one game against Richmond, please. Darcy Wilson, he looks to be a guy that I didn't trust early. And I didn't trust because wingers don't tend to necessarily score well. They're very, very inconsistent. But yeah, he's trending towards a third or fourth year winger in terms of his average of the 70 or so. Huge output of 3 goals, 2, as well as the 8 marks. He gets a lot of, and something that I should have that I missed was that and I don't know why I missed this because it's common knowledge that Senko would have a very chip game style. So I'm surprised that I forgot that Wilson, as a winger, should be able to get, as he's playing sort of wing half forward. So he should be able to get the extra marks needed to get those +6s that he needs to get the big scores. So I'm just surprised that I missed that. And yeah, really disappointed that I did. But he did all right. And then you've got Seth Campbell and Jai Clark. Jai Clark actually reinventing his cash gen. 37 now for him for cash for break even, but his job security is so poor that I missed that as well. So yeah, that basically is the video there of the sort of recap here of the round review. Not the worst round, sort of just treading water, I would say, and trying to basically make it up in my trades. So hopefully I can find that underpriced gun, wink wink, nudge nudge, a Melbourne player, in my belief, as well as getting another guy that is scoring really, really well and has a really favourable run. Yes, it means that I'm going back into St Kilda, which I said that I wouldn't, but yeah, that is sort of what my trades are looking like. But that video will come out Thursday with the tips and the other Supercoach trade review or preview and review of round 8. So tomorrow you have trade targets and cash cows as well coming out, which I'll film in a couple hours time. So yeah, that is the video, and this wants to actually refresh, and I guess I'll see you guys in those videos tomorrow. So bye guys.